weird Chicago Bulls fan for someone whose favorite team is the Chicago Bulls. You come off more as if you're a fan of this team, and this team is the Houston Rockets. And the Houston Rockets over here. Also, can we give not just Alperen Şengün love, but can we give love to our man Usman Garuba? Because Usman Garuba's low-key figuring it out defensively, at least, for the season. But these young guys, I can change the picture if you wanted to, but I think this one's... Should I change
Jacob's getting shafted every week. He's getting like 3 minutes in garbage time. It's such bullshit, but...
Who? Josh?
Josh, yeah. It's such bullshit. I'm a little worried about Usman now that...
Also, before you continue, there's a lot of Rockets fans who, like, are defending the hell out of Silas. Like, I have nothing against Silas. I just like to reiterate the point that Silas was brought here to coach a championship level team, not a rebuilding team. So maybe go out, try to get a coach like a Kenny Atkinson, a player development coach. I'm just that's all I want to say for Rockets fans. What do you think of this team and what they've been able to do over the last few weeks?
I think they need to definitely get a new coach. Man, I'm so anti-Silas now, and I was pretty pro. Let's see what he can do for us.
You were a
year.
pro Steven Silas guy for like the longest time. Like I was always hesitant on Silas. I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and I don't think he's a bad coach. I just don't think this is the situation for him.
I don't think he's a head coach in the NBA. I think that I just don't see. Like, thank God Jalen's kind of taking a jump because I've not seen too much player progression as far as like what the coach is implementing. I don't think, and I've been so critical of him, and I won't even get into it because I don't want to kill the mood here because they just took down Philly and Harden's return, and Harden had a couple of times where he could have sank the game winner. I was very happy to see yesterday. I don't think my issues with like Silas are like Josh Christopher. I don't even think he played yesterday. Yeah, he didn't play yesterday. Usman Garuba played 6 minutes. Like Daisha Nick somehow is still on our roster. Ty Washington Jr. just got called up. He's not playing. I don't know what he's like trying to accomplish. I don't think there's any ball movement most of the time, but we're starting to see it. Jalen Green did not make a three last night. He went 0-7, got to the free throw line 10 times. He had 7 assists. Kevin Porter Jr. was getting buckets when he had to. Jabari Smith Jr. started ice cold, and he had some huge shots in fourth quarter and both overtimes. Şengün was a little bit more of a quiet night. He fouled out, but guys like Tari Eason, KJ Martin Jr., these guys are like huge for the future development of Houston because these are the players. Same thing with Jay Sean when he gets back. These are the players that are like actually doing things on offense other than just standing around. Like they're actually going to do cuts. They're going to do backdoor door cuts. They're going to set off ball screens. They're going to do a little bit of everything. Tari was just in the right place at the right time so much yesterday. Same thing with KJ. So I love the pieces they have, and I agree with you fully. I don't think Steven Silas is the guy to develop these players, and I think it's abundantly clear a quarter of the way through the season this year. I think it was pretty clear last year, but like you're saying, I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt one more time, and I'd love a more offensive – or it doesn't even have to be an offensive-minded coach because that's what Silas is. Player development coach.
Kenny Atkinson would be perfect for this team.
Yeah, I'd love Kenny Atkinson.
So I just wanted to pull a thing. First off, Usman Garuba and Tari Eason are the defensive lifeblood for this team, as both of them are both averaging like a block and a steal a game, right around there. Tari for the season, he's shooting well from three, but over the last week or so, the last 10 games, he's been struggling from three. But for the season, you see the confidence there. Alperen Şengün, he's been awesome, but his minutes fluctuate. And at this point, I don't get why we just don't start Şengün and Jabari together. And on defense, you have Jabari play center, and on offense, you have Alperen Şengün play center, and on, and vice, what I mean? You flip them on offense, you take advantage of Şengün as the center, but on defense, you put Jabari as the center because Jabari is the better rim protector, and you have Şengün, who's shown enough athleticism to keep up with most power forwards, and that way Şengün can, on offense, play the center position. Jabari, who's over the last 10 games has been shooting 40% from three and looking like the three-point shooter and just that we knew he could be. And then you also, Kenyon Martin has been so interesting because he demanded a trade, but they're giving him minutes, and he's been solid for the season. He's a He's just a good role player, a guy that you want. He was somebody that I would have liked seeing a championship team with a team with championship aspirations trade for. And KPJ is oddly been one of their most consistent players all year. Just a guy who comes out, gives you 19 points a night, dishes like 6 assists, grabs like 6 rebounds, just does his thing. And I think Kevin Porter Jr. has been quietly like solidifying himself at least on this roster long term this season. But besides that, I think it's just weird with the end of this roster. Like Eric Gordon's there. I just don't understand why you give minutes to Eric Gordon. Like you keep giving him minutes. Like I think at this point,
kills the offense.
Yeah, I think at this point, let's try to find a trade for Eric. And I understand you want to keep vets on this roster, but like you can always sign another vet, like bring back Waba or something. But I don't see the purpose of why you're giving Dacian Nix minutes. Send him to the G League again. Garrison Matthews, you kept him on a long-term deal. I understand playing him, but he's more of a rotational guy. I think you need to be giving Josh Christopher and Ty Washington more minutes. Ty is a guy who I was very high out coming out of Kentucky. So I don't know. That's why I just think it's real. Someone with structure. That's literally Jalen. You're right here. You're so right. It's literally what pisses me off is I don't understand what Steven Silas is doing. His rotations do not make sense. The way you get what I'm saying? Like I don't. It feels like it's a different. Besides the 4 or 5 guys who consistently play in Jalen and Kevin Porter Jr., Alperen Şengün, Jabari Smith, and Eric Gordon, I just don't even understand. But and Kenya Martin and Tari Eason, it just feels like it's just a different look every night. I just don't know what to expect.
Yeah, it is. That's why. Yeah, exactly. I mean, Usman Garuba should be playing more than 5 and 8. Dacian Nix shouldn't be playing. Ty should be.
There's just not an identity. I don't know if this team's trying to
identity, and they're not trending in the right direction to find an identity. That's my issue.
But it's the worst part is I see these guys growing. I see Jalen Green growing as a player. I see Kevin Porter Jr. maturing, being more consistent.
As players,
as players. Alperen Şengün developing. You see guys who can play defense on this team, but you have. I don't know if it's the coach. Because Ralph Stone's just the guy who gives the coaching staff, the players to work with. And this is where I get confused that I look at this game. Are they trying to be this super offensively driven team that they're going to kill you with their youth and their athleticism and in transition? But I don't see that. Or are they going to shoot hella threes? Or are they going to be a defensive team because they have these super long guys in Jabari Smith, Tari Eason, Usman Garuba who can do stuff?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's for a team that's so young and for a team that pushed the pace so hard in the second half of last year, like they're, to my knowledge, dead last in pace. I mean, it's just you hear the announcers say it all the time. Like the announcers are literally saying, go, 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 go. How are you dead last in pace with the youngest team in the NBA? I don't get it. So, yeah.
I don't get it. And it's like, that's why I think you need to get a guy from the Golden State Warriors or the San Antonio Spurs what I'm saying is like a coach from the Spurs, the Celtics, the Warriors. Let's get a coach who's been in one of those organizations that understand winning, understanding player development, and let's build an identity with this team. Let's go. I want you guys to go out and play the hardest defense, or I want you guys to go out there and shoot as many threes as you can get off. I'm fine with either. Just let me give the fan base an identity what this team's supposed to be. Because right now it just looks like Steven Silas just plays the best players and just tells them to play schoolyard basketball.
Yeah. They're not taking good shots. They're dead last in field goal percent. They are second to last in assists. They're not pushing the ball at all. And when they do well, yesterday's game wasn't even that pretty. I think when you go into double overtime against a struggling or a injured Philadelphia team, I think you should have more than 120 points. But when the spurts came, more specifically in the second half, when the ball is moving around, that's when you see the highest success. So yeah, it's frustrating. I haven't been making Daily Rockets content because it's just I have a lot of nitpicks on them, and I don't want to be negative. But I'm glad they're winning. They're starting to learn how to close out these games.
Yes. So literally, Silas wants to run pick and roll offense like you do. And the thing is look, you should tell these guys, and he's like letting these guys shoot whatever shots they want. So you should be telling these guys, hey, on offense, you either take a 3-point shot or you take a shot inside the paint. No mid-range. Don't take a mid-range. And just work on taking high efficient shots. But like you said, you're running a pick and roll ISO. But the thing is like half the pick and rolls, it's not even like you're doing a lob threat because they don't necessarily have a lob threat. Jabari Smith could be a lob threat because he has the size and the athleticism. Even Alperen Şengün could be a guy who could be utilized in a pick and roll, maybe not as a lob threat, but a guy you throw it ahead and he just finishes the play. But when they do a pick and roll, it's like, oh, pick and roll and ISO, not instead pick and roll and so much pass it ahead to the guy or kick it out to somebody by using the switch to your advantage. It's pick and roll and just try to score the ball, either attacking the rim and drawing a foul or just mid-range or a step back jumper. And that's not how you play basketball.
That's what it is a lot of the time. KPJ calls a pick to Şengün, gets a mismatch, dribbles the ball for 15 straight seconds, and then they start to pass it or get it down to Şengün or whatever. But he's getting there. Like, I saw some good passes last night in the pick and roll, but
you should literally be running
specifically in the pick and roll haven't been great.
And like, look, no, I get what you're saying, AI Productions. What I think they should be doing is KPJ or Jalen Green runs the ball up. You have Alperen Şengün set a pick, but he rolls to the elbow. You pass it to Şengün at the elbow. Şengün backs up. You have Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, and the other wings do some motion offense and set picks for each other while Şengün is in the elbow, and then he either decides to kick it out or drive into the paint. Because when you kick it out and you have all this motion offense, it sets up 3-point shooters, and that way you can go. And I just think it's just you have a guy in Alperen Şengün who could be the store brand version of Nikola Jokic. And I don't mean that in any offensive way at all. I mean that as a very high compliment. I can never compare someone to be the Nikola Jokic 2.0. But if there's anybody who's in the league that's a few years younger, who's on their rookie deal, Alperen Şengün is the closest thing that we have to a younger version of Jokic, and they're just not utilizing it correctly. I think he's a combination of a UCLA Kevin Love and a store brand Nikola Jokic. But let's move on and let's talk about